Okay, let's talk about Londrekia's Snow Blossoms. So the A version comes out a little slower, B version comes out a little bit faster. For Oki purposes, the A version allows you to go for a throw before it fires, or meaty in conjunction with it, and the B version meaties for you so that you can block. You can differentiate the two because A version has Londrekia throwing his hand up, B version has him throwing his hand to the side. One very obvious drawback is they can just destroy it with their normals, or they can just jump over it if they don't respect you. The goal we have here is to create setups where it actually hits meaty, or at least within the first 4 frames. Jump startup is 4 frames, so I'm using that as my litmus test. The dummy is still set to block, but we're looking to catch startup. If layer 1 is meeting with Blossom, layer 2 is meeting in conjunction with Blossom, threatening to throw, which means that layer 3 is capitalizing on that respect and tossing him. Something to note when we talk about freeze setups is that the freeze itself is a static duration. Doesn't matter how long the combo is, the freeze itself will stay the same. However, it is height dependent, and 236A leaves them lower. Backdash 22B will meaty. Backdash 22A will leave a gap, so it's up to you to meaty. So that would be layer 2. And then of course layer 3 is backdash 22A run up throw. I guess it's worth mentioning that if they do respect your meaty, but then see you dashing up, it's possible to bait OSs. It's just the timing is really tight, and I wouldn't expect this to normally be the case. Most likely you'll just get mashed. Or they'll try and DP. This would be great for you. Backdashing is not necessary, and instead you can use concentrate, like you would backdash. The setups function exactly the same way, and it may actually be better in certain matchups where you don't want to give them wiggle room. Chaos, Yuzu, Hilda, you probably all want to stay a little bit closer to. Staying closer also potentially gives you more options after a blocked Blossom. Since we're covering snowflakes up close, I guess I should talk about the mega meme, which is the throw that does more damage with Blossom. It's super fake. There's actually no way to fake the timing between 22A and 22B without being totally punishable. You could do bait memes like this, but it may or may not be worth it. So because you get extra frame advantage when the frozen opponent is falling down to the ground, typically higher proration routes that have you doing 236B increase twice give you more wiggle room for your setups. For consistency across all heights, you can time a backdash to when the frozen opponent hits the floor, and all your setups will stay the same. This also gives you consistency if you're using 66B as an OTG. All this still works too. Because you've got all this extra time to work with, if you want to leave a gap in your 22A, you're going to have to concentrate or frame kill in some way. Unfortunately, post-throw, 22A and 22B are both completely punishable. But, you know what I was saying about the extra damaging throw? Well, you can pull that off using CS, like this. I guess it's worth mentioning that throw into 22C is just barely safe. Not really the focus of this video though. So of course the question whenever there's Oki involved in Uni is, okay, so but how does it work with delay tech? So in this case, what happens is your 22B would whiff, and your 22A that leaves a gap will hit meaty instead. So you can just copy and paste all of your setups that you would use to leave a gap, and they'll meaty instead. Here's a little idea. If somebody's delay teching after your throws, you can meaty them with 22B after you check their wake up by whiffing 2A. 2A, did they tech? No? Okay, let's do that. And then of course, if they respect that, you can whiff 2A to 2A and toss them again. So the next thing I wanted to cover was how to be greedy. Ways to set up a 6B from 22X. So 22A up close, gapless. 22B, always a gap. The sort of convenient aspect of going for this is it kind of autopilots into your optimal confirm. The major downside is, on top of being punishable on its own, if you whiff this thing because they delay tech, you just die. So there are reasons why you would want to do this further out, and thankfully it does still work, just as a frame trap. Unless they have a horizontal reversal, you're probably safe here. Hitting in 236B increase can let you backdash and set this up meaty, But if you're using a 236A ender, the only way you can set this up is if they delay tech. But there is a sort of upside to that. If you know your opponent is delay teching, this actually becomes guaranteed unless they shield the Blossom or use a horizontal reversal. Your options after 6B could probably be covered somewhere else, but suffice to say, you get a few mix-up opportunities and maybe some safe pressure. Ultimately, it's one of those things where the risk-reward is never fully in your favor. Unless you're using 2-2C, at that point you can just tag it on at the end with no risk whatsoever. But if you're trying to do it at the earliest or every opportunity, you're just going to get punished. Kind of supplementary, or instead of 6B, you can just set up 236B increase instead. This is also not real after 22B. And there are a lot of reasons why you would want to go for this instead. It is an all-around safer option. So that's really most of it. I'm not going to say all of it, there's still probably more to explore here, but as far as whether or not I think this stuff is worth it, while it's not particularly strong, I still think that it gives the opponent something to think about, an opportunity for you to run some mix-ups. I think that if Londrekia's throw is buffed, then this stuff will be much more important, or maybe even essential. So here's hoping.